All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Charlton Board of Selectmen meeting. Today is April 13th, 2021. The time is about 6:32, and of course, we are doing this meeting via Zoom, so all votes that we do take will be by roll call. I will briefly go over the agenda. The first item on the agenda will be the minutes. We'll be approving the minutes of the regular meeting on March 9th, 2021. Then that will be followed by community relations, announcements, and open forum, followed by appointments and resignations. And we do have some tonight. We have the reappointment of the Library Charitable Trust Fund trustee, nomination of inspector of animals, notice of retirement, finance director, town accountant, notice of retirement, animal control officer, animal inspector. And then under number 5, we have scheduled appointments. At 6:45, we have a chapter 61 removal request, Kozowski, 14B1. 6:50, we have a poll hearing, A Young Road. 7 o'clock, Fourscore Holdings LLC, First Amendment to the Host Community Agreement. And at 7:15, we have the fire station update. Followed by that, we will be doing new business, application for special permit and site plan approval, Charlton Developer LLC. And then Prindle Lake Association request for placement of sign. Under old business tonight, we have the annual town meeting budget. We need to finalize budget and warrant articles. And that's followed by the list of our usual committee, Board of Selectmen committee reports, CMRPC, Economic Development Commission, Fire Station Building Committee, which we'll be passing over because we'll have them here tonight doing a report earlier on. LNG Committee, Marijuana Advisory Committee, Sex Offender Bylaw Committee, Stipend Advisory Committee. After that, Board of Selectmen Policy Review, followed by Board of Selectmen Goals and Objectives. Then we have Henry doing our Student Select Person Report and Andrew doing our Town Administrator Report. Following that would be other business unknown at time of posting. And the next regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen will be April 27th, 2021, 6:30 p.m. via Zoom. And we do have an executive session tonight. All right, so let's get moving. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting dated March 9th, 2021?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. David?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
I vote aye. Thank you. Next item would be community relations, announcements, and open forum. I'll start by reading the announcements. Andrew, did you have anything before I go?
No, I'm good.
Just double checking. All right, so for announcements tonight, we have mail-in ballots are now available for annual town election, May 1st, 2021, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Heritage School. Visit www.townofcharlton.net, town clerk's page /newsflash. Any questions, please call the town clerk's office at 508-248-2249. Annual town meeting will be Monday, May 17th, 2021 at 7 p.m. at the Charlton Middle School. Mask required as well as social distancing. I would also like to make an additional announcement that there will be a candidates night via Zoom on April 19th, 2021, starting at 6 p.m. And the moderator will be our moderator, a town moderator, Noreen Johnson-Smith. And just to let you know that each candidate will have an opportunity to share about 3 minutes to make a personal statement. It's not a debate of any kind, and there'll be questions asked, but we hope people join in and watch. And all this information, in case you're not taking good notes, is available on our town website. So any members like to add anything that I didn't mention? All right. Next, we will open it up to the public to see if anyone has any comments. And I would ask, for those of you unfamiliar with how to do this, just state your name, your address, and please keep it to about under 3 minutes if possible. Thank you.
Nothing in chat, Karen.
Not seeing anything?
Right. I'm not seeing anybody asking to be recognized.
Okay. And we shall move on. All right, so the next item we have number 4, appointment resignation. Number 1, we have the reappointment of the Library Charitable Trust Fund trustee. Andrew?
Attached is a request from Sue Malinsky seeking to be reappointed to the Charlton Public Library Charitable Trust Fund for another 3-year term. Ms. Malinsky's term expired December 31st, 2020. For informational purposes, the Charlton Public Library Charitable Trust Fund is a committee of 5 members appointed for 3-year terms beginning January 1st, and ending on December 31st, as follows: 3 by the Charlton Public Library trustees, 1 by the Friends of the Charlton Public Library, and 1 by the Selectmen. I'd recommend the board make the reappointment of Sue Malinsky to the Charlton Public Library Charitable Trust Fund with an expiration date of December 31st, 2023.
All right, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right. Hearing none. David?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
All right, and I vote aye, so that motion passes, and thank you to Sue Malinsky, and we certainly appreciate her serving in this capacity. The next item on the agenda would be the nomination of Inspector of Animals.
Attached is a notification by the Division of Animal Health and Inspection by the Division of Animal Health that the Inspector of Animals and the alternate Inspector of Animals term will expire April 30th, 2021. You're asked to make the appointment of Ann Salou as the Inspector of Animals and Kathleen Flynn as the Assistant Inspector of Animals. The term of these appointments will run from May 1st, 2021 until April 30th, 2022. Police Chief Dowd is recommending the appointments as well. Once the appointments are made, we will notify the Division of Animal Health, who will make the official appointments. I'd recommend the board make the appointments.
Any
Yeah,
motion?
Andrew. Yeah, so second for discussion. I know we're appointing Ann to that, but I also know that later on she is retiring. So I'm fine with everyone knowing, that we can move forward with this, but then come September, we're gonna have to redo it. So that's the only thing that everyone should know. But outside of that, yeah, I mean, yeah.
The one question to that, in regard to what Selectman Bobrowski mentioned is Inspector of Animals and Animal Control. Will Ann still be performing one function? And that's why we're doing an appointment?
Through September, or through her retirement, she'll be continuing to do both positions. I believe at that time she will be doing neither, and at that time we'll have to make appointments to both.
Any other discussion or questions? All right,
So-
hearing none.
So then this appointment would be until, realistically, until, like Bill said, until September, not through the calendar year.
Right, but this they say this is going, I guess, to the Inspector of Animal or the Department of Public Health. So once she does resign, then we would resign that position, ask for an appointment of a new Inspector of Animals.
Yeah, the state wants to see the appointment for the year. We just have to know internally that come September that we're gonna have to be appointed and send in new paperwork.
My only thought would be as long as we don't have a lack in coverage.
We'll be advertising that soon and trying to get that position filled in advance.
Okay.
All right, so we'll bring it to a vote. David? You're muted.
Aye.
Gotcha. Steve?
Aye.
And Bill?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Thank you very much. All right, moving right along. The next item on the agenda would be the notice of retirement, Finance Director, Town Accountant. Andrew?
Attaches a letter from Donna Folio stating that she will be retiring effective September 23rd, 2021, as the Town of Charlton's Finance Director and Town Accountant. I'll be working with Human Resources Director Lynn Dyer on filling this position. We have already posted this to try to get somebody into the works. I have enjoyed working with Ms. Folio and look forward to working with her through the transition process until her retirement.
Motion to accept with regret and my deepest appreciation for the work she's done, as well as giving us such a long notice so that we can have somebody come on board earlier and not have any lapse.
I will second that and ask if the board would also please craft a letter thanking her for her service. and leave it in our office so everyone can sign.
Absolutely.
I agree. Agree.
All right, so we motion in a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. David,
Aye.
Bill? Bill?
Aye.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's
Steve?
okay.
Aye.
All right, and I vote aye as well, so thank you. And I too just want to express my gratitude for Donna. I mean, she's done a great job for the town. I definitely have appreciated working with her, and we certainly wish her well. So thank you, everyone. All right, next item on the agenda would be number 4, notice of retirement, animal control officer, animal inspector. Andrew?
Attaches a letter from Ann Salou stating that she will be retiring effective September 15th, 2021, as the town of Charlton's animal control officer and animal inspector. Ms. Salou has been the animal control officer for the past 15 years and animal inspector for the past 21. I'll also be working with the Human Resources Office on filling this position, and I have also enjoyed working with Ms. Salou and look forward to working with her through the transition process.
Similar motion to accept with regret. Ann's been great all this time, so she's going to be missed, but I hope she enjoys her retirement, even though my guess is she'll be working twice as much.
And another second with the same request that we put a letter in the office to have the board sign thanking her for all those years of service.
Yes, I agree. Thank you, Ann.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to accept. David?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
And Steve?
Aye.
And of course, I vote aye with regret, and echo your sentiments as well. She's a wonderful person and been wonderful to work with over the years. So, all right, moving on, we're a little bit early, I think. We have a 6:45. Should we take something else, Andrew? Or no, actually,
Okay. I was going to jump down to number 1, new business, if that was all right. I think that one might be quick.
yeah, go ahead.
If I can find it. By the time I find it, I'll be time for the next one.
Yeah, actually, Andrew, it's like 6:44. Just I
All
think
right,
if by the
no
time
problem.
you're done and I read it, we should be good to go.
All right.
Read
sounds good.
slowly.
All right. Attached is a Chapter 61A, removal request of Kozowski 14-B-1. Attaches a request from attorney Jeffrey M. Chase on behalf of the Kozowski brothers, Ken, Gary, Jeff, and Brian, to remove Chapter 61A, Lot Number 2, 1.6435 acres, Assessor's Map 14-B1, to give to their niece Amber Kozowski to build a house on. The Planning Board, Board of Assessors, Conservation Commission, and Water Sewer Commission have all reviewed the request and have no objection to the town of Charlton choosing not to exercise their right of first refusal for this request. The chairman should open the public hearing by reading the attached public hearing notice. I'd recommend the board approve the request.
All right. So I shall open up the meeting by reading the public hearing notice. Please be advised that the Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, April 13th, 2021 at 6:45 p.m. at their meeting to be held via Zoom to act on a request submitted by attorney Jeffrey M. Chase on behalf of Kozowski brothers, Ken, Gary, Jeff, and Brian to remove lot number 2, 1.6435 acres, assesses map 14-B-1 on North Sturbridge Road from Chapter 61A to give it to their niece Amber Kozowski to build a house on it. Any interested party should appear at the date and time specified or submit concerns in writing. We'll now open this up. Andrew, I know you can see all.
All right. I am at this time not seeing any public requests for comment.
Madam Chair, unless I'm sorry, Madam Chair, unless anyone has, or from the board or the public has any concerns, I'd motion to actually close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. David?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
All right, and I vote aye. We have now closed the public hearing.
Madam Chair, I'd make a motion that the Board of Selectmen not exercise our right of first refusal.
Second.
A motion, yep, motion. Do we have a second, David?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. We'll take a vote. David?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
And I vote aye. All set. Thank you very much, everyone. All right, next, we are a bit early, Andrew, so we can just jump down, I think, to what you wanted to originally, which would be,
Alright.
just so everyone can follow the bouncing ball, where are we going?
Application for special permit and site plan approval for Charlton Development LLC.
All right,
First under new business. The planning board has provided you with a copy of an application for special permit and site plan approval submitted by Charlton Developer LLC of Boston, Mass. to construct a 1.197 million square foot warehouse distribution facility and associated parking for employees and tractor trailers. The applicant is also proposing to use the abutting property to the rear for construction staging and soil stockpiling. The properties are located at 241 Sturbridge Road and are located in the Industrial General District. The abutting parcel is Assessor's Map 46, Lot B, or Block B, Lot 2, and is in the Agricultural District. The board is asked to review the plans, and if you have any comments or questions, we must notify the planning board no later than April 20th, 2021.
Nothing here, Madam Chair.
and any comments, any? Okay, any
Yeah,
action?
Well, no, I actually watched this planning board meeting.
Mhm.
I don't have any objection to it. If the planning board is working pretty hard to try to make this work, there are some things they have to go through, but
All right,
I think they'll come through with it.
any other discussion? All right. Hearing none, I think we can, how about we go on to number 2, Andrew? I think we still have a few minutes, so, well,
We got 1 minute, so probably by the time I finish reading the notice
go
here.
ahead. Yeah, we'll do it. It seems to be working, so yeah, let's go back up. So for those who are trying to pay attention to where we are now back up under scheduled appointments, 650 poll hearing, A Young Road.
Attached, you will find a request from Massachusetts Electric Company, DBA National Grid, seeking to install one SO pole on A Young Road. Also attached is the notice that was sent to the abutters. This request has been forwarded and approved by both the police department and DPW superintendent. No comments or concerns have been received. The chairman should open the public hearing by reading the notice as sent to the abutters.
Okay, the chairman shall do so. Here's the public hearing notice. The Charlton Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, April 13th, 2021 at 6:50 p.m. via Zoom webinar to act on a request from Massachusetts Electric Company, DBA National Grid, requesting permission to locate poles, wires, and fixtures, including the necessary sustaining and protecting fixtures along and across the following public way. A Young Road, National Grid to install one SO pole on A Young Road, beginning at a point approximately 177 feet west of the center line of the intersection of A Young Road and Davidson Road, new stub pole and anchor P24-84. They are also asking for permission to lay and maintain underground laterals, cables, and wires in the above or intersecting public way for the purpose of making connections with such poles and buildings as each of said petitioners may desire for distributing purposes. Anyone wishing to be heard on this matter should appear on the date and time specified via Zoom or submit concerns in writing.
Hey, Andrew, I got somebody with their hand up and as attendee.
All right.
Is that person with the number that I'm seeing?
Yeah.
They're muted?
Yeah, if you
So
plug
this-
in 061416, if you have something to say, here's your chance.
Yep, and again, this is about the hearing we're in right now. Yeah,
Unless it's a mistake, then you can chat with us and we can figure it out.
All right.
okay.
I do see Jeff from National Grid is on. I'll promote him to allow to talk if there's anything that he wants to add to this.
Hi, Jeff, did you want to say anything tonight?
I am just here to answer any questions that any of the residents may have.
Okay.
We appreciate you showing up, Jeff.
I am here with you.
Madam Chair, the 061416 number lowered their hand, so I think we're all good. So barring any questions from the board and or the public, I'd make a motion to close the public hearing.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second,
Okay, we have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Any discussion? Hearing none. David?
Mute wasn't coming off. Aye.
All right, Steve?
aye.
Bill?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Thank you. That's all set. Now, Jeff, thank you again for being here tonight. We appreciate it.
Have a fantastic night, everybody.
Yeah,
Well,
you
Jeff.
as well.
Two. Thanks, Jeff.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the request as
We have a
Second.
motion. Do we have a second?
Second,
All right, with motion and a second discussion. Hearing none, we'll take that roll call vote. We'll mix it up. We'll start with Steve.
aye.
Yeah, just keeping you on your toes. David?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
All right, and I vote aye. Motion passes. Thank you.
Karen, you want to do Prindle Lake?
We can do that, yeah. I think that's a smart idea. So again, stay with us, folks. We are now moving down to new business. Number 2, Prindle Lake Association request for placement of sign.
Right, the Prindle Lake Association has submitted a sign permit application to the Building Inspectional Services Department. Because the request is to put a sign on the town beach area on Prindle Lake, the board is asked to review and make the decision. In conversation with the Prindle Lake Association, they would like to ensure the proper signage is posted for safety reasons. I would ask the board approve the request and allow me to work with them on the wording of the sign.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I have no problem with this. So at least to move the conversation, I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, discussion.
I mean, Andrew, just make sure it's not out of control or anything. So just, come up with something reasonable.
No problem. I think the only thing I was looking to add was something along the lines of like, the town assumes no liability.
Yeah. Just make sure we're protected outside of that.
All right, so
Maybe if we get a brief or a snapshot of what the sign would look like, and what the wording is. Or-
I'll work with them on that.
all right, hearing no, David, were you going to say something? You're just getting ready to vote. David,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
And I vote aye, passes. Thank you, everyone. Great suggestion, Bill. Thank you very much. And I do think, let's see, we can bounce back up to under number 5. No, we can't, can we? Still
Well, I can give a quick committee report.
okay. Well, just let everyone know who we are, Bill.
So we are under BOS committee reports, number 1, CMRPC.
All right.
So
Thank you.
this will be very brief. I had a conversation with Sujatha over at CMRPC. So this has to do with one of our overall goals, one of my personal ones that I proposed regarding traffic calming measures, overall infrastructure safety. And the folks from CRPC were incredibly kind. Long story short, they're willing to send out one or a couple of their representatives to take a look at some of our hotbed intersections. Obviously, with limited capacity, there's only so much we can do. With the board's indulgence, what I'd recommend is that we all come up with one intersection or two, send them over to Andrew, and Andrew, I can give you Sujatha's name, and then we can coordinate with the staff out there. Again, this is free of cost to us. They'll just come out and give us their opinion. They'll do some analysis, et cetera. It's basically, they can help us out because of our relationship. And I think it'll at least allay some concerns that residents may have around looking at these things. Now, again, when it comes to actually potentially fixing them, that's a whole different conversation. At least to start some analysis. I mean, I think one of the ones we probably all agree on one way or another is that the amount of complaints and concerns and accidents we've had between Center Depot and Stafford over the years, to have one of those areas just take a look at. Again, I don't know what if anything can be done about it, but I think having another set of eyes look at it certainly couldn't hurt. So again, with the board's indulgence, I'd recommend, everyone take one or two intersections or streets, send them over to Andrew, and then we can ask CMRPC to kind of take a look and see what they can do for us free of charge for now.
Bill, I think that's great, and thanks for reaching out to them. But how do they? So they've got a little more of a clear channel to Mass DOT, I would take.
I mean, I think it's probably our relationship is probably as good as theirs. I think this will just allow additional opportunities for just to get another set of eyes
Yeah.
to take a look at it.
So that, yeah, so basically CMRPC, they have staff traffic engineers. So they, they kind of have a second opinion of, the same kind of traffic data from a technical standpoint that Mass DOT would have. But then they could also leverage some of the other aspects of the commission to try to get, some grant funding that might be able to go toward some improvements.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
So this is step one of probably like a 25-step process, but it's at least, we can start down the path and see, maybe we'll get lucky.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I'd recommend to the board.
Like a good idea. Anyone else?
No, if it gets us there sooner and quicker and cheaper, I'm all for it.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
Bill. Yeah, thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
All right. We actually, Steve, the Economic Development Commission, did you want to report on that at all? We have 3 minutes to spare.
I won't. I promise you, I won't take much more than that. We've well, as I reported the last meeting, we've had 3 meetings. So our second meeting, we have a chairperson, a vice chair, and we're organizing, and the group seems energized, and they've actually, part of the group has reached out to a senior in high school who's volunteered to do a video of the town of Charlton with drones and that type of stuff, and work with the AV department to kind of put together. So we're talking about marketing things and what we could hand out to people and have a link to entice businesses to come into Charlotte. So, and I like the idea, because I think if it's homegrown people talking about the town they love, I kind of think that's got a pretty good impact on some voiceovers. And I also asked that since we have Andrew Golis on that, that he would have to probably do a little speech out in front. He's got a little Hollywood thing going on with him. He's got a little Bruce Willis thing, is what I think I said at the meeting, but he could probably pull off and help us all out. But I think we're heading in the right direction. There's a whole lot of other plans, but we're up and running.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you very much. And we will go back up. And for the general public who may be wondering why we're bouncing all around, it's very important. We have to adhere to when we have a hearing, we have to open it right around that time, actually. So anyway, that being said, we're going to bounce back up to under scheduled appointments. And we want to make sure they're here in this particular case. If it's not a hearing, we want to make sure the people are here to talk. So we're going to bounce up to our 7 o'clock appointment with Fourscore Holdings LLC. And at least we're starting on time. Andrew?
At the board's June 4th, 2019 meeting, Fourscore Holdings LLC at 144 Sturbridge Road had come before the board asking for them to consider an amendment to the host community agreement that would allow the inclusion of retail sales of adult use marijuana products at their site. At that time, the board approved the amended agreement contingent upon Section 18, which states that the licensee hereby agrees that if it has not received a final license for a marijuana product, manufacturer, marijuana cultivator, or marijuana retailer at the property by March 1st, 2021, then it shall, within 30 days, request to be scheduled for a hearing before the Selectmen. Attorney Daniel Glisman has reached out to me on March 8th, 2021 to ask for a time to meet with the board. He is scheduled to meet was scheduled to meet with you at your March 23rd, 2021 meeting, but due to the lack of quorum, the meeting was not held at that time. We have scheduled it for tonight at 7 o'clock. So Dan is here representing Fourscore.
All right, welcome, Attorney Glisman. You have the floor.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Andrew, for the introduction. Thank you all for having us this evening. Really great to see everyone. As the board may recall, my name is Dan Glisman, and I'm here with the Fourscore team. As Andrew mentioned, we're here to provide the board with an update on our progress at 144 Sturbridge Road in connection with the proposed marijuana establishment there. Like many other things in our lives these days, COVID has had a significant impact on this proposed project. As the board may be aware, we received our provisional license towards the end of last summer. And, fortunately for us, that was only a couple of months behind schedule. The commission did really a fantastic job of transitioning to remote working and moved forward rather quickly, maybe only missing 1 or 2 meetings. But we quickly realized that if we were to have started construction, at the end of the summer, last summer, early fall, that we'd be opening or trying to open our retail store in the fall at a time when everyone was projecting sort of a massive third wave of coronavirus infections. And so we were unclear as to whether we'd be opening a retail store at a time when the governor was about to close us down shortly thereafter. And he had shut down adult use, specifically marijuana retailers, earlier that spring. So, we definitely were sensitive to that. And I would say it was just a sort of an uncertain time. But with all that being said, we're excited to announce that we are moving forward. We're commencing some selective demolition on site, and we intend to commence construction of the retail component of the facility imminently. So in addition to giving the board an update on our timeline, I wanted to take this opportunity to also introduce Aspen Blue. Aspen Blue is the team that's going to be really bringing this project to fruition and opening its doors and operating the facility. We began discussions with Aspen Blue last fall, circling around some sort of strategic partnership or potentially a financing opportunity. And we ultimately executed an agreement whereby Aspen Blue will step into the shoes of the existing Fourscore team. And like I said, bring this project to opening and operate the facility. I believe the board is in receipt of a copy of our change in ownership and control application that was submitted to the Cannabis Control Commission, as well as a notice of application deemed complete. And essentially what that means is our ownership application, or our application to transfer ownership has been vetted by the staff. It's been deemed complete, and we are now sort of waiting to be scheduled for the next available Cannabis Control Commission meeting for that change in ownership. Aspen is, a well-funded and experienced operator here in Massachusetts. And I can't see who is on, but I think I'm joined this evening by Pat Casey, and maybe Matt Wilkes. Pat Casey is the president and CEO of Aspen Blue, and Matt Wilkes is the chief business operator. Andrew, would it be possible to put both Pat Casey and Matt Wilkes on as presenters so they can give a quick intro? Excellent. All right, I see Pat.
Yep.
Thanks, Pat. You want to jump in and introduce yourself to the board?
Sure. My name is Pat Casey. I'm the president and CEO of Aspen Blue LLC. We're a Massachusetts-based cannabis company, vertical cannabis company that owns several provisional licenses and is on schedule to open up its first retail store in Wellfleet by Memorial Day. We're almost finished with the construction. We anticipate having the CO by the end of the month, and we anticipate getting a response from the Mass CCC to commence operations about a month after that. We also were affected by the COVID situation. We began construction in our Attleboro location, which is combination retail and cultivation manufacturing operation, last April, actually earlier than that. And that kind of ground to a halt after COVID happened. So we've been regrouping. Since then, we were lucky enough to be well financed, so we could carry our operations, through until now, and anticipate opening up the Wellfleet location Memorial Day, the Attleboro retail store sometime in the third quarter, this location sometime in the third quarter for the retail store, and both the Attleboro and the Charlton grow operations sometime in the first quarter of 22. Knock on wood, as long as there's no problems with the schedule, the financing isn't an issue. It's just as long as everything else cooperates, COVID and the CCC, I think we're in good shape.
Yeah, thanks, Pat. So the board also, I believe, is in possession of a proposed consent agreement, which would have the board approving this ownership transfer to Aspen Blue, as well as just confirming that the host community agreement and the development agreement are in full force and effect, and and that everybody is moving forward accordingly. So I know we just got that stuff over to Andrew yesterday, but we're here before the board this evening, and happy to answer any questions that you may have on the ownership transfer or the project to date. So thank you very much again for having us.
Aaron, through you.
Yep, go ahead, Bill.
Hey, Pat and Matt, welcome to town. Happy to have you. So conceptually, I have no issue with this at all. I think we just want our legal team to view it in like a little more detail, Dan. I think it's just really a matter of a pro forma. Let's just take a look, make sure all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed, et cetera. And additionally, I know that because you don't have the final license yet, you're still at provisional.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So to make life easier for everybody, just so that we stay within the grounds of the existing agreement, what I'd probably recommend is that I make a motion to extend out that March 1st date to October 31st for now, to get your license. And then, Pat, it sounds like, that you still may not have it at that point, but that's just, again, more of a formality for me, just to make sure that you guys are moving along and that we're not just holding up a license for somebody else. I mean, no one's knocking down the door yet, but obviously we don't want to have this just hang out there. So this is our carrot and stick approach, if you will. So again, welcome to town, but with my colleagues, I make a motion that we extend out the final provision until October 31st, 2021, at which time we can reassess once again based upon, the legal transfer paperwork that I'm sure we'll take up maybe even the next meeting.
Is there a second?
Thank you.
Second.
Yeah.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, questions? Now's the time.
So
Just want
question.
to check with, and I'm sorry, Member Coronis, I just want to confirm with Pat. I know third quarter is the goal. I don't know if it would behoove everybody to maybe push it out a little bit further, January 1, just because I know how these things go, and I know how the Cannabis Control Commission is. And of course, our delays to date have been, somewhat deliberate and related to COVID, but I do, just because I know how the process can go, would it be all right to move it to January 1 as opposed to October 31st?
Nice try, Dan. If you come back and show me that you made a good faith effort, I'll be more than happy to extend it at that point.
Understood. Thank you.
I assure you, it's not our intention to go that long.
I trust that. Like I said, I'm not worried about it, but this at least allows us to have a line in the sand just to make sure that things move.
Nope,
Or
I
at least,
understand.
again, at least that you're making a good faith effort. We all understand the, let's just say, problems that people can encounter with the CCC. So trust me.
And as far as from the original plan and the square footage of the grow facility and traffic and all that stuff, nothing there has changed.
No, nothing is there has changed. Some of the internal mechanicals are changing, but the exterior of the building isn't, the size of the building isn't. Everything is remaining the same.
I think you were probably we're gonna be able to max it like 50,000 square foot grow or something like that. Not a huge building. That's
Yeah. less
Right,
than
right.
that.
It's limited by the building, correct?
Yeah, the building's 20,000 square feet and, give or take 3,000 for retail, some for production, the remaining for cultivation.
Any other questions?
Just one, and that is with the changes discussed with the partnership, et cetera. Will Attorney Glissman still be representative legally?
David,
David,
you're
you're
a
breaking
little-
up a little bit. Sorry, man.
yeah, can you repeat, David? Maybe move a little
So
closer.
my
or-
question was, with the changes that were discussed regarding ownership, partnership, et cetera, will Attorney Glissman still be representing this endeavor before the Board of Charlton?
I don't think we have had any specific conversations on, who will continue as counsel for Aspen Blue. I know that they work with a reputable firm right now, but I, of course, am available and would be happy to participate.
Just curious. We've had some good and bad experiences with different law firms. I know that through everything we've gone through so far, Attorney Glissman has been extremely transparent and cooperative with the board. And my hopes, obviously you do business with who you do business, but we have had a very good working relationship. If you maintain Attorney Glissman, that's wonderful. And I would just say, if not, I really hope you find someone as transparent and forthcoming as he is.
I would.
Yeah, I can say
I
that.
would ditto that.
I can say that it's not on our intention to upset the apple cart at this particular point in time. What's working is working. We are represented by Pannone Lopes in this transaction out of Providence. And I believe our attorney, Ben Radcliffe, has a good working relationship with Dan. But as far as the point person with the town, it's going to be Dan for the foreseeable future.
Thank you.
And I do have one quick question for Patrick, if I may.
Sure.
You had mentioned that everything, for the most part, staying the same except for the mechanics and mechanicals, or can you kind of elaborate on that at a very high level? I don't want you to go
Sure,
into
it's
too
just
much
the
detail,
engineering,
but-
the engineering drawings inside. We have a particular style of grow that we do that requires a little bit of a change. It's all interior stuff. It's all an interior grow mechanism that our master growers are comfortable with. That's all. That is a little bit different than what was previously proposed.
Great, thank you. Appreciate it. Any other questions or comments?
No, just a brief thing. Hey, Pat and Matt, do me a favor, work with Dan to work with Andrew to get yourself plugged into the marijuana advisory committee, because we're going to want you to be involved with that, just to make sure that, we're kept abreast around what's going on. So, I know it's not official yet, but the sooner that you guys get plugged in, I mean, again, if this is just a formality for the paperwork, I'd rather have you there sooner than later.
Absolutely.
And I did forward the information over to Jim Philbrook, who's the chairman of the committee. So that way they're aware.
Sweet. Thanks, guys. Beyond that, I'm good. Thanks, Karen.
All right, I believe we need to vote. All right, so David,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
I vote aye, it passes. Thank you again. Thank you, Daniel and Patrick and Matthew. And I'm sure my peers join me in wishing you well and much success.
Thank you. I'm
very
looking
much.
forward to working with you.
Bye, guys.
Dan, good to see you again and welcome.
Dan.
back.
Yeah, well,
Bye-bye.
Could I just confirm the motion was to extend to August 31st?
October 31st.
Excuse me, October 31st.
Yeah.
And then we'll
Just come back at
follow
that
up
point.
with Andrew on the consent paperwork to make sure town council reviews the same.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank
good
you.
night,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Heading back up, so people know we are still under number 5, scheduled appointments. The next appointment, which we are right on time for everyone, is 7:15, the fire station update. Andrew?
All right, so the members of the Fire Station Building Committee have requested to come before the Board of Selectmen to provide an update regarding the plans for the fire station. So just give me 1 second while I bring the members of the committee in. right, Rob. Floor is yours.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving us a time on your busy agenda. We appreciate it. So we'd like to give you an update as far as what the committee has been doing over the last 4 months or so, the progress we've made, the steps that we've taken, and where we're at. So for the board to know that we do have the 2 representatives from Tecton Architects, who is the architect firm that is helping us design this building. It's Rebecca Hopkins and Jeff McElravy. And the fire chief is also on. And we have our OPM, John Lemieux. He'll be joining us in a little bit. He has another meeting that it should be finishing up any minute now. So he'll be joining us. So if you guys have any other technical questions. So as you know, after the public safety building got voted down in November, we came back before you guys for some direction. We received that direction, and we also listened to the public. And the committee was reformed with some additional members of the committee. And we've been meeting, looking for ways to lower the cost as much as we possibly can. And you'll see how we did that in the next few slides. So we do have a presentation. Andrew, do you have it, or do you want me to try sharing my screen?
No, just give me 1 second. I will.
Okay.
I'll share.
So
it.
we did put together a small presentation for you guys. We're going to talk about where we were with the public safety building, which is on the next slide, and where we're at now with our proposed fire station design. So this slide is in comparison. Originally on number 1, the public safety facility, that's where it was located. As you know, that the town did purchase the 19-acre parcel of land on Masonic Home Road. So we were originally, the public safety building was in that corner piece over there. Mainly it was selected for that piece for cost reasons. In the event that, you know, we did do a public safety facility, we were going to need 2 driveways, and the other site was going to make it a longer driveways, which was more expensive. So the committee, when it was reformed, we decided we wanted to look at the entire parcel of land to see if there was another parcel on, or another location on that parcel of land that was more conducive for a building. We also looked at other sites around town, a couple other locations around town. One in particular in the center of town over at North Main Street and Old Worcester Road. We looked at, and a couple others, and the cost savings of site work was evident. However, the cost of having to purchase the property, you know, and then having to do all the additional studies and analysis and everything almost became equaled out. And not to mention that if we looked at another parcel of land, that we were going to have a further delay because we were going to have to go through the purchase of that land and stuff like that. So we stayed with the current 19-acre parcel of land. However, we did ask Tecton Architects to give us some site design options for both pieces. So if you look at number 2, that's the other parcel of land. So we had them give us a couple options for number 2 and a couple options for the number 1. And then the committee decided sort of what parcel of land we wanted to go with. In addition, there was a couple other options that we looked at. We looked at keeping the same size fire headquarters as in the public safety building, a 12-bay, 6 double deep fire bays. That was option 1. Option 2, we looked at a smaller headquarters, which was an 8-bay or 4 double deep station with an annex building. I'll explain that in a minute. Option 3 was a smaller fire headquarters with a substation conducted at the exact same time. I'll explain why we were thinking that. And then option 4 was just a substation only. We were going to worry about the fire headquarters later on. So those 4 options came up in big discussion. The committee felt that there was some things that we needed to accomplish with this building design proposal. One of them being we needed to solve the problem at fire headquarters. The other one being is we needed to solve the problem at Station 2, which is over on North Main Street. The other problem is that we needed to reduce response times as much as we could. And also the cost of the project being as low as possible. So the largest fire headquarters, or let me go with the substation only. The substation only didn't solve the problem with fire headquarters as much as it was a smaller building and it was a cheaper cost. Probably would have been more favorable to the community. However, they were still going to be forced to have to build a fire headquarters in the near future since headquarters is extremely inadequate. So we didn't, we kind of ruled that option out as much as it would be a perfect option if it was possible. The larger fire headquarters, the concern that we had with that one is that if it was a 12-bay fire station and then at some point in the life of the loan of the building, there will have to be a serious conversation regarding the substation, in the next 20 years or something like that. And if we moved 5 pieces of equipment out of fire headquarters and into a substation when it's built, then we've actually have a fire headquarters that has 5 bays that have nothing in them. And we thought that that would sort of be a waste of taxpayers' money. So we wanted to reduce the size of fire headquarters with what we feel would be the equipment in that building when a substation is built. So that's how we ended up with our current proposal of a smaller fire headquarters, which is 8 bays, 4 double deep, and an annex building in the back. The annex building, one of the things that we heard from the taxpayers was a pre-engineered steel structure. It would be a cost savings. The problem with a pre-engineered steel structure is it doesn't actually have the longevity as a normal stick-built regular traditional building. So we didn't want to do the entire building in that format. But we did ask Tecton to look into the possibility or the cost comparison of a 8-bay traditional fire headquarters and a annex building, single story, designed with as a pre-engineered steel structure, hoping that we would only need it for 15, 20 years or something like that. So those options have proven to be, at least very superficially, that it's going to be the most cost effective. So that's sort of why we have decided to go down that road. So on the right-hand side of this slide, you'll see some people looked over the weekend. We posted some photos of the conceptual design. And again, through this whole process, I just want everybody to know it is a conceptual design. The conceptual design from the public safety building to what we voted on last November was significantly different as we progressed through this. So we're only in the conceptual design phase, but there was a lot of people that said this building that we're proposing today is the exact same size as what the building was before. It looks even bigger. There was a lot of comments. So we did, Tecton did an incredible job and they did some overlay for us. So the darker peach or orange colored is actually what the fire station is we're designing today. Is the lighter color on the underside is actually the old fire station portion of the public safety building. And then obviously the entire print was the whole public safety building, the non-shaded in area, that was designated as the police department. So hopefully people can see that it is a significantly smaller building. The public safety building was 40,800 square feet. And this building total, including the annex, is 25,300. The fire station and the public lobby area is 21,700 square feet. And that is down from 27,500 square feet, which is what the public safety building was. So we are continually trying to reduce that square footage. It doesn't matter. We have been told this many times by Tecton. We can come up with anything in the world to reduce cost, but the most beneficial way to reduce costs is to keep shrinking square footage. I'm sure the chief will speak at some point. The concern that we have is if we continue to shrink this building down any more, then we're actually going to start running into operational problems, or the building is actually just going to be undersized from the day that we move in. And we seem to have a tendency with that in this town, and we're trying not to do that in this building. So we think that where we're at now is a pretty good balance. Like I said, if you guys don't remember, the fire station in the public safety building was originally a 30,000 square foot space, which got whittled down to 27.5. And now we've whittled it down to 25.3 total if you count the annex building. And we'll go over what those, what's actually kept in the annex building. So currently, in case anybody wonders, the fire department currently occupies about 10,670 square feet of space. That's between our headquarters, the Station 2 up on North Main Street, and Quonset hut across the street from headquarters that houses our tower truck. So there is obviously a significant improvement as far as size, and then we can explain why or where that's coming from and what we have for inadequacies currently in our building. So next slide, Andrew. Good. So this is the site location of the proposed fire headquarters or new fire station. Right underneath the word A in plan, down at the bottom, you'll see where those two orange lines kind of come together, just to give you a relationship to where that driveway is. Just below that A, that's the secondary driveway to the old. That's that other driveway as you start coming up Masonic Home Road. So just so you know where that piece of land is. Tecton has turned the building for us. The apparatus bays are facing Masonic Home Road, and they pulled it as close as they can to the road for visibility reasons for the public, making it sort of an inviting atmosphere for them. So as you can see, the parking spaces for the public is on the right-hand side of the building, and then on the back of the building is most likely is probably for the on-duty firefighters, plus the administrative staff will park towards the back of the building and enter into the administration section. The annex building, like you can see, is at the top of the building. We'll go into a little bit more depth as to what's in those buildings, but that's the turn of the building. We selected this site mainly because the fire apparatus on this site never have to go through the parking spaces. You never have a time where the fire trucks will be traveling through the parking spaces while the public may be exiting the building, trying to get to their cars, kids running through the parking spaces. We just felt it was a safer environment that the station be built in this fashion versus the other site. The station really didn't have the ability to be turned in a way or with adequate parking that fire trucks weren't going to be traveling through the public parking area. So that's the reason why we selected it. There is an intermittent stream crossing, as you can see down there. When Tecton had met with the Conservation Commission in the past, they were actually excited that we were going to be doing a new stream crossing for them. This one is a very badly damaged, or it doesn't even really exist. So they were okay with that. So that's the location. We did, like I said, we did shift it a little bit. All right, so the next slide, Andrew. So here's the floor plan. This is the first floor plan. Conceptual design only. I just want to make sure everybody stresses that. Don't get focused on sort of the things that are inside all of the spaces. We do that just for placeholders, and that way we can actually have a little bit of spatial relationship. I don't understand what 180 square feet looks like, so by Rebecca putting in a couple pieces of furniture for me, it makes a little bit, makes a lot more sense for me. So they enter into the vestibule, then they can go into the lobby. There is a little triage room off to the side, so we do have walk-in medicals quite a bit. We just had one last week, so there'd be a little area for the individual to sit and wait for the firefighters. There's an administration wing, so that's the window for the to greet the public. If you follow on to the right, so that's the admin wing. Terry Goff is the administrative assistant, so she would have a desk, and then we currently have 3 workstations in her office now, mainly for the volunteers that come in through the elderly tax work-off program. So they would have desks as well. Like I said, we're just keeping what we currently have as far as space in that office. Fire prevention office, we do have one fire inspector at this time, so he would have a desk, a filing cabinet, a plans review table. We do have a future office, as the chief will speak about, I'm sure, is we do anticipate extensive growth in this town, and with that will most likely come the need of having another fire inspector. Most large communities along the Route 9, Route 20 corridor have 2 fire inspectors just because of their large amount of commercial businesses, which we see us having for the life of this building. We see that increasing. Deputy Fire Chief's office, Right now, the deputy fire chief and the inspector share an office, but important for him to have his own office for confidentiality reasons. There's a small conference room downstairs for meetings. Then there's the chief's office, mechanical room. There's a couple restrooms, a small kitchenette area for them, a file room, a copy room, a mailboxes. So that's it for the administration wing. So then in the middle of the building, there's the back entrance, like I said, for those administrative parking area. They'll come in through the back of the building. Then they can access their admin wing. And then what TechCon did is, this is one of the major changes compared to what we have. What we don't have now is they put a women's locker room and a men's locker room in place for us, and they're acting as a transition zone from the dirty apparatus bays with all of our contaminated gear into the clean area. We have to go through this transition zone, which is important. The turnout gear storage room, right now our turnout gear is stored on the walls, being contaminated by vehicle exhaust and then damaged by UV light coming in through the open garage doors. EMS storage area for equipment. There's a radio tap room, which is also our report room. And then the apparatus bays, like I said, there are 4 double deep apparatus bays. They'll be able to hold pieces of fire apparatus. We can go into the numbers in a little bit. And then on the far left is sort of the working rooms of the fire station, the compressor room, the SCBA room, workbench, fire equipment storage area, our spare turnout gear, and a decon room, which will hold our gear extractor. And then there's a training tower that's being built. And again, part of the problem that we've had is the labeling of rooms, and people focus a lot on the labeling and not understanding really the true use of the room. The training tower, its main function is to dry our hose. So our hose are 50 feet long. We fold them in half, and we need something to stretch up. We hang them vertically, so 25 feet. Right now, we put them inside this rack system that actually doesn't work. And we put a commercial fan blowing air through this rack system. So ideally, we'd like to hang them vertically. So that's what the 25-foot tower is for in the front of the building. So because that tower is going in place anyway to hang the hose, why not use that tower for other things? And you'll see what we're talking about in a minute. So, any questions on the first floor? If not, I'll just keep going and then we can go back. Floor, Andrew, if you could. All right, so second floor. If you go through the lobby, you enter the elevator, or you go up the set of stairs, you'll come up to the upper lobby, which is sort of in the middle of the building. And it's done that way intentionally, so that way they can get access to the community room and training room. So the training room used for the firefighters when we have large trainings, whether it's our department training or regional trainings, but it's also a community room that anybody in the community can be used. It's definitely secluded from the fire station. People can access the lobby, go upstairs, they can get access into the community room, and it doesn't really affect the operation of the department at all. Whether it's community CPR, there's additional classes that we're hoping to do with the community if we can get a space that's actually specifically designed for them, or it can be used for anything else, meetings, or more importantly, an emergency operations center. Currently, the town of Charlton does not have an emergency operations center that would be utilized during a disaster. And this room would be converted quickly through the movement of these desks to an emergency operations center and allow us to perform a little bit better during disasters. So at the front of the building is the day room, the kitchen area, those are the firefighters, their daily routines. Then we have 8 bunk rooms. The 2 officer rooms, one of them is for the captain and the other one is for the executive officer who's actually in charge when the captain's not working. They have similar office to the captains because they have similar duties that they have to perform when the officer's not there. And then we have the regular dormitory rooms. There's 6 regular dormitory firefighter rooms. It is an increase compared to what we currently have now. It really makes no sense to build the exact same number of dormitory rooms as we currently have. In anticipation of the town growing, we also anticipate the needs of more firefighters at some point. You don't really need to pay any attention to the alternate dorm rooms. That's just for the committee. We're trying to decide how we want the dorm rooms laid out. That's all. The back of the room is a physical training room for activities for the firefighters to be able to do their job a little bit better. There's different techniques that are put out by the International Association of Firefighters and the PFFM to actually job-specific trainings and stuff. And then, I'm sorry, the upper lobby does have some bathrooms that are designated really just for the people in attendance for the community room and trainings and executive rooms. You may ask why there's 40 desks in there. Is 40 too many, but that's the minimum number that's required for MEMA in order to hold trainings. So if we have anything less than there, then we actually cannot be a training site. So that's why we ended up coming up. So then it is open below as far as the apparatus floor. And then on the far end is the mezzanine. Part of that mezzanine is going to be used for additional storage. And then the other part of the mezzanine is used for firefighter trainings. And then obviously the training tower. There's a lot of things that the firefighters do during the day for training that we'll be able to do in this building that currently we don't. They're do, but we actually have to wait for some required structures that we can get, or like a lot of times the Overlook allow us to use some of their buildings. Just simple ladder drills, bailing out headfirst down a ladder in the event of a fire conditions, some rope work, stuff like that. So that's what would be used over on that side. So go to the next slide. So this is the annex building. It's a 5-bay garage door, essentially single story, 5 bays. And it's to hold some of our apparatus that we don't necessarily immediately, but it's better to have it on the same site. Right now, we have to drive uptown to the North Main Street station to get the rescue. Under this proposal, we'd be able to just walk across the parking lot. So there is our forestry unit, our rescue truck, our boat, and then the rest are our trailers that we are responsible for. As you can see, we have about 8 trailers that we currently utilize. Our hazardous materials response trailer, the district foam trailer, the signboard, the tech rescue trailer, the regional tech rescue trailer, the Citizens Emergency Response Team trailer, the CERT team, emergency management trailer from the Department of Public Health, as well as our light tower. It would all be stored in this building. It's heated, but to a much lower temperature. It's a pre-engineered steel building. It's just on a concrete slab. So it's significantly cheaper to build this structure and store these pieces of equipment, and instead of putting them in headquarters and making the headquarters large enough to store this equipment. We have a little outdoor storage space as well. We're anticipating needing some of that versus storing the stuff inside the fire station. Next slide, Andrew. So this is just some renderings for you guys. The top one is the front of the building, how it looks. And the bottom one is the side of the building that's facing the current police station. So you would see that if you were coming down Masonic Home Road towards Route 20. That's the side of your building. Again, it's still being worked on as far as the windows and the configurations, but that's the general gist of it. Next slide. Top one is the back of the building. And then the bottom one is the side of the building as if you were coming up from Route 20, what you would see as well. And the last picture, last slide, is actually, this is sort of that conceptual perspective of what you would see is if you were coming down the driveway from the Overlook looking across the street to the fire station. It's sort of what you would have it in your site. So that's where we're at right now. The committee met yesterday. We have sort of approved the plans, and TechCon has sent it over to the estimator in order for us to get a conceptual design estimate. Conceptual design estimate will allow us to have a dollar amount for the May town meeting for the next phase of the design, which is the design development of the plans. We don't have an actual number of what we believe this building is going to cost. We do know that it's going to be less than what the public safety building came in at, just because it's less square footage. The public safety building came in at $22.1 million with $3.5 million for contingency, so 25.6. We know that this building is going to be less than that. We've cut out 15,000 or so square feet. So plus the cost per square foot of a public safety building includes a communication center and jail cells, which is a lot more per square foot than what a fire station costs. So we don't know what it's going to cost, but we do know it's going to cost.
Rob, sorry to interrupt. Is it fair to say though, even if using those numbers, and again, no one hold Rob or Ed or Jeff or Rebecca or anyone else to this, but doing the math quickly here, if we take around 25 million, 25.6 divided by the 40.8 thousand square feet, it comes out to be 620 roughly, dollars per square foot, multiply that by 25,000. To your point, we're looking at around, assuming that same cost, and it may not be that high, we're looking at only around 15.7. If that, all things being equal, which I know is not a fair thing, but but what I'm trying to get across to folks is that, to your point, is that we don't know the number, but it is going to be based upon just base calculations and ratios. It's going to be significantly less than what was brought up last time.
Yes, and what I can answer that is a hard cost of the public safety building of $22.1 million. If you divided that out over the square footage, it came out to be, and Rebecca will nod her head if I'm right, $535 a square foot. So if you take that number of 535 and you times that times the square footage, that will give you the hard cost.
Yep.
And then the soft cost and the contingency is based on the percentage of the hard cost, right? So we have estimated this to be in the 16 to 19, and depending on that. So I think that's where we're hoping to land more on that 16 number than on the higher number, but we don't know yet, and that's the hard thing is, and we learned this through the last process, Bill, is the first estimate came in at $28.5 million, and that's the number that was there. And then when the final numbers came out, when we had a bid document in hand for 25.6, there were plenty of people that still voted no because they weren't going to support a 28.5 building. And it wasn't a 28.5 building anymore. So that's sort of the fear that we have is we're doing our due diligence. We're going to continue to work between now and next May to continue to shrink the building. Jeff is getting more gray hair from us than I think any other project he's ever been involved in, because we keep telling him we need to keep cutting costs and cutting costs and cutting costs in any way that we possibly can. We're looking for that. So that is our ultimate goal. That is our number one goal every time we meet, is looking at ways. Every decision that we make is what can we do best for the public, or what can we do to actually lower the costs as well.
So I suppose this question is going to be, I'm sorry, did somebody have something else?
Actually, Bill, after you're done, I'd like to offer Chief Knopf, Fire Chief Knopf, an opportunity to speak, because he might make a comment that answers a question that is about to be asked. That's all. Chief, did you want to say anything now, or?
I
Ed?
actually have a
Bill can state his
question.
question.
Might be able to.
Hold on.
No, Ed, I will happily yield my time to you.
No, and I want to thank Rob for doing a great job presenting this. It's some of the things that we've got to remember is that with the police station, it was obsolete before they ever moved into it. And those are some of the things we're trying to avoid here, in that we're looking at growth down the road. As this town develops, obviously the need, and there's a need now as well in the event of emergencies and snowstorms and stuff like that. We need that extra space to bring in individuals on overnights and stuff like that. So that's why the building is where it is with the 8 bunks, and that's that additional space. Like Rob said, we've been looking at it hard and fast in ways that we can make reductions without making the building obsolete before we walk into it. So, and I'm open to any questions from anybody here, and I will yield the floor back to you, Bill.
Oh, that's always a dangerous thing to do. So Karen, through you, I suppose my only
Yeah.
question is going to be, one of the things we're talking around, obviously, as part of the update is the warrant. So do we have a number yet of what you guys are going to be asking for at this May town meeting? As a reminder, this is a 2-step process, what we voted on last time. it's going to be May town meeting this year and almost certainly May ballot next year. So my question is, for this town meeting in a few weeks or about a month, what's the number that we're going to be asking for?
So Bill, it's actually going to be a four-step process. This May town meeting, there'll be an article. This October's town meeting, there'll be an article. And then May ballot be the ballot vote, and then May town meeting will be the final vote. So to answer your question, we do not have the number today, but we will have the number by the time Andrew needs it for the printing of the article. The estimator is going to give us the estimate back on Monday, the 26th. And we have a meeting, the committee has a meeting on the 27th, and Andrew needs the number by the 28th. So he will have that number by then as far as what we're asking at the May town meeting this year. It's a percentage. So when the estimator comes back with what they estimate the building to be, the number that we need to get us from May to October is a percentage of that. So that's how that number comes.
Andrew, did you want to elaborate on that at all? Or you any other?
Just that, the warrant article as proposed just gives the use, it doesn't give the total number. So we just need it for them. We need the number for the motion.
Any other questions, comments?
Yeah, I do, actually.
Steve,
So,
yeah.
look, I was looking at these drawings and these pictures over the weekend. I have the right side of the building, I have no problem with. I think it's great. I think the amount of bunks, we have enough room for future growth. I think we have all that stuff. I'm a little, so if it comes out to $535 a square foot, and we have the annex building, what's the difference? My point here I'm trying to get to is, what's the difference between adding 2 bays and eliminating the annex building? Because that looks like it's a beautiful building. I like it. It looks like it's almost, part of me is thinking, and to Ed's point, we may be buying something that may be obsolete before we move in.
Well, Steve, I mean,
Throw that out there.
yeah, and it's valid. I'll let the experts talk about the square foot price differential for the additional bays, but I can speak to as far as town coverage, to house everything at that one station for eternity doesn't make a whole lot of sense. At some point down the road, and this is where that whole conversation came with the substation, there's going to have to be looked at the opportunity to build a small station somewhere on the southeast corner of the town. And that's primarily, so that's why the annex is there, is to hold those things now and in the future down the road, long after I'm here. That'll be something that the town will have to undertake. But as far as the cost differential, I defer to Jeff and Rebecca on that.
I'd be looking for we still have the left wall, and that left wall is a fixed price. So to add 2 bays versus the annex building, is it?
Rebecca or Jeff, I'm sure that you guys can jump in and explain that for us.
Yeah, so if I may, we during the initial study of the options phase, we used a number that we had received from an estimator on another project for a similar metal structure that came in at about $275 a square foot. We are asking our estimator in the documents that we sent out yesterday to give us some comparative pricing so that we can look at the cost of a bay for the annex building versus the cost of a bay in the headquarters. And if in fact it turns out that the value makes more sense to add more bays to the headquarters, then that's a discussion we put on the table right away, and and have the committee make the choice about that. If on the other hand it does prove that saving money initially and positioning the fire department for some future substation is going to be the most cost beneficial way, then we'll have the actual numbers to compare and make an informed decision rather than working off of old numbers.
Yep. No, I agree. But even, I mean, we are still going, even that annex building, we're going to have to heat that, as Rob said, not to some degree, that we keep it above freezing, certainly, not maybe 50 degrees, but it's a beautiful building. I like what you guys came up with. I like the right-hand side of the building. I think that's fine. I would just take another look and see what those two numbers are. But it sounds like you guys are doing that.
Yeah, I mean, we are, as Rob pointed out, we are still in the conceptual design phase. There's lots of information and lots of choices that we're bringing to the committee at each meeting, and they weigh the consequences from a programmatic standpoint as well as a cost standpoint, and make some good decisions. And we've got some great members on the committee right now that offer some experienced voices with that regard. And the discussion, the question that you asked is something that we've talked about at the last two meetings, which is precisely why we're getting those prices from the estimator.
Yep. Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Karen, this is more so to Andrew, and actually the rest of the board. Prior to town meeting, so at our next meeting, can we get a snapshot of those dates that Rob mentioned, basically like from now until next May? What's going to happen and when, and what are we going to be asked for? Because what I heard, Rob, that was not my understanding, but that's not to say that I was correct in my understanding. So I want to make sure the five of us are all on the same page going into town meeting. Actually, not even five of us, that all of us are on the same page to say, all right, this is what we're doing this May, this is what we're doing October, and this is what happens next May again, because I'm sure it's going to come up at this town meeting. So I want to have a tight answer that we all agree on.
Yeah, Bill, through the chair, the reason why that is, remember, if we said that we were going to work backwards from the date that you guys wanted to vote on. So, and then the other question thing that you guys requested is that we actually have a bid in hands for the May of 2022's meeting. In order for us to have a bid in hand, we have to do some design work between now or this May and October. And then in October, there's an additional amount of money that's requested in order for us to go actually out to bid, get design documents and go out to bid. That number will come into us in April before the May of 2022 town meeting and before the May of 2022 ballot vote. So then we'll be able to actually announce to the public what the actual bid number in hand. If we didn't actually need to have a bid in hand, then we probably wouldn't be doing it in the fashion that we're doing it. But the fact that we wanted to have a bid in hand for next May, remember we talked about the two options of having a bid in hand for next May. We actually have a general contractor ready to put a shovel in the ground. Or the other option is we would go to town meeting next May with an estimate. And then after, if it got approved, then we would go out to bid, but then you actually have to get a GC to do it for that estimate. And you guys had elected that you wanted to have a bid in hand number. So that's the reason why there's that other step come up.
So to Bill's point, Bill, I get where you're coming from, and I think it's important that everyone understands moving forward what that timeline is that was voted on, basically. So we have an answer when people ask us.
Yeah, so Karen, are we assuming then, and again, because we could probably just sell it right now, that come next May of 22, right? We're gonna have the election first week of May like we always do. And that's where the debt exclusion would be on the ballot. Then 2 or whatever it is, 2 weeks later, then we're going to town meeting to take the second vote, which is the inverse of what we normally do. And again, I'm okay with it. That's not what I remember, but I'm okay with it. I just want to make sure that we're good.
Oh, Andrew just put something. Andrew.
Yeah, so I think it was
After
this
that?
Schedule 2B option is basically what we're looking at. So right now we're in that conceptual design phase, coming up to annual town meeting where we're going to need to appropriate funding for schematic design and design development. And then at the October fall town meeting, we'll be looking for appropriation for construction documentation, to have bid in hand prior to the May 22 annual town meeting and ballot vote. And then assuming both of those pass, then go to construction, or sign the agreement, go right after.
So that means that from October to May ballot vote, we're not gonna have anything between that, and it's gonna be up to us and the fire department, building committee, and everyone else. That's gonna be to publicize it. So we're not gonna have the advantage of having town meeting prior to the ballot. And that was the concern last time. And I'm not trying to rehash history. I just want everyone to be aware that that's what that means from October to May ballot. That we're not gonna have any real meetings about this outside of informal ad hoc updates. And if we're okay with that, that's okay. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Karen, if I could, Madam Chair.
Yep, Rob?
Yeah, so Bill, that was, remember, if you remember correctly, that was what the big discussion was the last time when we presented this. And the recommendation, me personally, not from the committee, but me personally, was to hold off on the vote until November of 2022 in order for us to have the May 2022 town meeting to present to the public, and then November meeting is a midterm election. And that was voted on and it passed, and then it got reconsidered, and then it got pushed back until May. That was the concern that was brought up, is that at the May election, at the May ballot, people are going to go in, hopefully with the information that they gather through public information sessions, through flyers, through whatever means that we possibly can before the May before the May town election. Because you're right, they're going to get a proposal in October. They're going to get a proposal this coming May. They're going to get another presentation in October, and they won't actually get the final presentation until after the May town election. So that was the concern last time. And then because we didn't want to miss a whole construction cycle, if we would have pushed off to the November 22 date, that's why it got moved up to the May 22 date. So we didn't miss a construction cycle, and then we end up paying more because of inflation.
I was on truth, Rob. I just couldn't remember if we decided to have the ballot, pardon me, the town meeting exclusion in May or October. But if we're saying it's going to be next May as well after the election, as long as the five of us understand that's what that means, I'm okay. I mean, you know, if that's what we voted on, that's what we voted on. I just want to make sure that when it's asked at town meeting, that we can map it out. So we're talking this May, next October, next May ballot and town meeting again. But the funding mechanism for the actual build is going to occur next May. Between now and a year from now, it's around design costs, so we can get a good estimate.
Absolutely, yep.
Correct. All right, never mind, I'm good.
Andrew, did you want to add anything? You good?
Nope, that's good. Just that's
All right.
direction we
And
go.
there's no action that's needed tonight by the board. We just wanted them to come in and give everyone an update, and we certainly thank them for their efforts. Been doing this for a long time. I appreciated the way you used the ghost, I'll call it a ghost image of the public safety building overlaid to show the difference, how the size of the building has really been reduced. So that was a good visual. So thank you for that. Any other comments or questions?
No.
Again, this is something that we definitely need in the town, and fingers crossed and hard work ahead.
Yeah, there's no doubt. We definitely need it.
All right. Well, again, thank you, Rebecca and Jeff, for joining us, and Ed and Rob and everyone who took the time to be here tonight. It's appreciated. Excellent presentation, and keep up the hard work.
Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, guys.
Take
All
care.
right. Now, where are we? So we're still under, actually, we're done with scheduled appointments. We actually already went over the items under new business, and now we are, correct me if I'm wrong, we are under number 7, old business, annual town meeting, budget, finalized budget and warrant articles. That would be correct, yes, folks? All right, Andrew?
All right. So attached is a copy of the town meeting warrant for posting. We pretty much finalized all the articles in here and should be ready to go. So I don't know if you guys have any questions before just voting to vote to sign.
I'll open it up. Any questions or comments?
I'm good.
All right. Hearing none. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Is there a second? David, Steve, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Steve.
My 8 o'clock bell is going off, so I'm muted. So it's
That's okay.
8 p.m.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. Steve?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
And I vote aye, so that passes. Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda, we're jumping down to number 8. We have gone through the first 3 really items for committee reports. So did Patsy join us, or is she trying to get in by chance, Andrew?
I still don't see her in the attendees.
Okay. So we'll bypass that for tonight because Ms. Ridlock's not with us, and we can do our number 5 marijuana advisory committee. Steve, do you want to just say a few words about that, even if it's just a...
I did not attend the last meeting, so I actually don't have an update on that.
All right, no problem. Andrew, did you want to chime in with either of those? Are we all set?
Oh, I think the last marijuana advisory committee meeting was basically just kind of like the update as to how everything's going between the Green Gold and Fourscore. You guys got the update from Fourscore tonight with the actually additional information that was presented that night. And Green Gold basically gave the update that things have been, progressing very well over there. No issues to really handle, and business has been good. So.
Excellent. All right, then we'll move down to Sex Offender Bylaw Committee. David, anything to add
Still
there?
on track for fall.
Well, excellent. And Mr. Borowski, Stipend
Yeah.
Advisory Committee.
Yeah, no, we're still good on that. More than likely, after town meeting, we will disband it and see where we go with it. So yeah, I think that we're good to go, assuming that all those numbers are in the budget, right?
That's correct. Yep.
Excellent. All right, moving down to the Board of Selectmen Policy Review. I don't have anything under that, Andrew?
Nope, nothing tonight.
Same thing for goals and objectives?
Um,
Nothing? Or do we have something?
Just a few things. Improve solicitation of volunteers, creating that item. So I am working with the Access Cable to do first a video for the 3rd graders to kind of give them a overview of town operations, and hopefully that kind of sets a base standard for a video series that we can do to try to highlight other things in town along with the EDC stuff. So hopefully it's a good start on that.
Oh, Andrew, that's cool. I saw those emails coming around.
Yeah.
So can you
Yeah, so
elaborate a little bit on that? So you're actually gonna...
Yeah, so I'm gonna do an interview with one of the students over at Shepherd Hill to do kind of like try to kind of like an overview of town government and what we do here on a day-to-day basis. So they're going to do some kind of B-roll shots around town, and I'll just provide some narrative descripting. So
cool.
Well, thank you for that.
Oh.
Anything else under that heading, Andrew?
No, everything else is ongoing.
All right, that brings us to our student select person report. Henry, floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm gonna share my screen. All right. So quite a bit has changed since the meeting on March 9th. So on Wednesday, March 10th, the school committee held a highly anticipated meeting that finalized the end of the year schedule for the entire district. So they upheld the dates agreed upon back in January for a full in-person return. Model C for the high school started on March 15th. I'll elaborate on what that entails. And the high school will return to full in-person learning on Monday, April 26, 2021. And the middle school will return on the same date as well. And that's the Monday after our April vacation. And grades K through 4 already returned on April 5th. And of course, the younger grades returned earlier because this aligns with the state's push to return the younger grades to classrooms sooner because they don't really move around the building as much as high schoolers or middle schools do. So on March 15th, Shepherd Hill returned to Model C, exactly 1 year after Governor Baker closed the state in his press conference. So Model C, what Shepherd Hill currently is in, entails the entire student body attending in-person classes in the morning, then transitioning to afternoon remote classes in the afternoon. And this no longer entails the cohort system that was prevalent during the fall. And Wednesdays are just half day in-person classes with no afternoons as they are for teacher preparations. So obviously with the entire student body back in the school for the first time this year, it's created a lot of changes that wasn't seen when half the student body was there. So students are distanced 3 feet instead of the previous 6 feet, and that's 3 feet nose to nose. So more students have been contact traced as a result because a student can be contact traced if exposed to COVID with a student seated 6 feet away. So there's a lot of contact tracing during the first week. There's been some outbreaks such as in the music department, but luckily it's been calming down a little bit as more students get their vaccines and teachers as well. And when a student is contact traced, they're quarantined for 7 days, even with a negative test result for the precaution. So with double the amount of students trying to leave the school, it's created a little bit of a mess in the parking lot as everyone's trying to rush home for their afternoon classes. So there's been multiple accidents, including those with school buses, which has prompted the principal to push the dismissal time up. And so the district, as they have been for a while, has been exploring adding another entrance to the school, and they're working with the Dudley Planning Board about that. So generally, students are really happy to be back in school. It's a really easy schedule to follow. Of course, there's always going to be concerns about COVID transmission and contact tracing, but there's a lot more in-person learning, which is great, and the rigor of classes has certainly picked up. And just two other things the school committee went through is they decided to push Superintendent LaMarche's evaluation back into the June-July date range. Previously, they were going to try to do it in May, but they just pushed it back. And as was announced in the Charlton Telegram, there were 2 new principal openings at Charlton L and the Heritage, and they were both filled. At Charlton L, Jennifer Lilly is the new principal, and Peter Olson, the current assistant principal at CMS, is the new principal of Heritage School. So extracurriculars, sports are officially back. Everything is going pretty well. The football team is competing, so is track and volleyball, and unified basketball and winter cheer are both practicing. And there are no students, no spectators allowed at the game, but each player is given 2 spectator passes so their parents can attend. And along with sports, the music department is also competing again virtually. Obviously, there are no huge indoor competitions as they've had in the past because of the capacity limits placed upon by the state. But they competed in a final round of competition on Saturday, March 27th, and they recorded and they set up risers and backdrops in the gym to mimic an actual competition. So as the end of the year approaches too with senior events, the administration is working very hard with the senior class officers to plan appreciation for the seniors. On March 24th, the seniors enjoyed free Dunkin' Donuts and an early dismissal at the school, so they were thrilled about that. And they're trying their best to kind of keep the status quo of events in the past. So there's some new events such as the Senior Sunset Concert. Liam Coleman, the local musician that's a senior at Shepherd Hill, is going to be performing for the student body in the parking lot. There's going to be a senior pep rally and a senior breakfast. And there will be a senior banquet at Wachusett Mountain, a senior class trip, and a commencement graduation. There's still some ongoing discussions about whether that'll be at the field or they're exploring the DCU Center as well. but unfortunately prom was officially canceled, and this kind of goes in line with the DESI guidelines regarding prom. The state said it probably wasn't a good idea to hold prom, so Shepherd Hill admin followed suit. And just some miscellaneous items. The NHS concluded a Battle of the Borders drive that consisted of collecting paper goods, and there were a lot of donations to chip in Charlton and the Webster Dudley Food Share, and it was a great event for the community. And their NHS is also conducting a cornhole tournament this Thursday, and all proceeds are being put towards a local AAPI organization. There are virtual parent-teacher conferences, the first of its kind, on March 11th. They're a huge success. More parents were able to fit this in their schedule. And the Shepherd Hill cross country team completed a virtual 5K and donated over $1,000 to the John Payer Foundation. So that was phenomenal. And last thing, be on the lookout for the Shepherd Hill senior class Instagram, Shepherd Hill class at SH class of 2021 as college decisions are announced. And that's all I got.
All right, thank you, Henry. Any questions for Henry?
Henry, nice job. Thank you.
Yeah, nice job, Henry.
As always,
Henry, I'm not gonna put you on the spot. I'm not gonna embarrass you,
but he will.
but I probably will make it tonight, just by talking to him, I'm probably going to. I saw some of I was reading the Shepherd Hill announcements and all of the colleges and universities that you were accepted to.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I
Henry,
actually,
you rock, man. But
Yeah.
then over the weekend, though, one that wasn't in there, there were like 6 or 7 juniors out in my backyard goofing around, and a little birdie told me you got accepted to Harvard.
yeah, I'm going in the fall.
Oh, you going there?
Yeah,
I wasn't going to put you on that spot.
yeah, I'm super excited.
Oh,
Well, congratulations, Henry.
rock on, Henry, right? Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
They said you're super. They said you're super smart.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Harvard, never heard of it.
It's an okay school, nothing special about it.
Good job, Henry.
Yes,
Congrats
we're
on
sure,
Harvard. Wow.
we'll show you, we're sure you're going to do quite well. So,
Yeah.
all right. On that happy note, let's figure out where we are. The town, Andrew, town administrator report,
All right,
all yours.
pretty brief. All right, so attached is a list of holidays for town hall. It's basically for planning and informational purposes for meetings or events if needed. The list is available on the town website. 2021 scholarships. The 2021 scholarships have been received back from the school. Staff is currently compiling them and will forward to the board for your review. And then the award of the scholarships will be on your April 27, 2021 meeting. And then just one more thing. So I did send the board out a link to start my town administrator review, and hopefully we can start getting on top of that at the next meeting. So that's what I got.
Excellent. Thank you, Andrew. Any questions? All right, hearing none. So we are now on other business unknown at time of posting. Do we have any?
Hey, Karen, it's just an awkward thing, only because you won't be here, but for Steve and David, when you guys want to meet in May? So town meeting is what, the 17th?
Yes.
So do we want to meet the 11th? I'm just trying to think, like, just kind of plan everything out.
Oh, because the election is the
first, so we could meet the 4th or the 11th or some other day. I just going into town meeting if we could.
Yeah. 11th's a regular meeting date.
Yeah.
You also want to give the newly elected, whoever they are, an opportunity to get sworn in. So you may want to push for the 11th to give them a couple of days to get to town hall.
Yeah, the 11th works for me if it works for you two, and I'm assuming that it'll be okay with Patsy because that's our normal schedule. Sorry, Karen, I don't mean to sidetrack us. I just didn't want to do it during your last meeting. Be like, oh, hey, when are we meeting again?
No worries. I like you're planning tonight, Bill. I like it.
Yeah, it just says an FYI, I'll be taking a majority of the week before off. So
figures.
well, that's what happened last year. We got elected on Saturday, and town meeting was Tuesday in the parking lot.
So David and Steve, if you guys are good, let's just and assuming Patsy's okay, let's just plan on the 11th.
Yep.
Cool. Thanks, Karen.
I'm fine with
All
it.
right.
Karen, don't worry. We're gonna throw you like a big thing next, you know, at some point, including next.
I'm still gonna watch your meetings, you know.
Oh,
Kidding.
God.
I'm not that crazy.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
I'll pay attention though. I will pay attention. All right, so moving on to just in the announcement of our can't talk. Our next regular Board of Selectmen meeting will be April 27th, 2021, and it will be at 6:30 PM and via Zoom. And next, we do have an executive session we need to go into. Bill, do you want to take us into that?
If you give me 1 second to call my agenda back up.
Yep.
Oh, for God's sake, sorry.
And yeah, I'll just let you do that.
Sorry, my phone's been incredibly slow today. Sorry, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session under MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Number 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation, LNG. If an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, the chair so declares, and we convene to open session for any other business if needed, and to adjourn.
And the chair so declares. We have a second?
Second.
All right. Steve,
Aye.
David,
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
And I vote aye. We are now in executive session.
See you, Henry.
Good
Bye,
night.
Henry. Nice day. Thanks to everyone who joined us. Thank you for taking